Hello lovely sewing friends, I'm glad you could make your way over here. So, elephant in the room, you may have noticed we've got a little change of scenery behind me, and that is for a very good reason, because this is actually going to be a video where I show you like the skirt that I'm wearing currently and my original setup behind my wall. I couldn't do that, so we're here. So hello and welcome to this YouTube channel where I show you a bunch of sewing tips and tricks, and we basically just talk about all things sewing, because I started the sewing YouTube as a way to, like, if you're sewing or you're just new to sewing and you just want to talk about it. Like, I love talking about sewing, but I don't really have people to talk about it to. But also I wanted this to be like a little time capsule as well of like all my sewing projects. Speaking of which, I want to show you guys something. So, as you guys may have recalled, in my previous sewing video, I showed you guys this fabric. I think, was it this dress? It was this dress. And then, I'll tell you what, it's right behind me. I didn't mean that to happen. And then this fabric, right? And I was saying I was going to make a skirt. I made it. I made my skirt. I'll actually show you guys. I'll show you guys the full skirt, because I'm so impressed with how well this skirt showed up. Like, I gotta show you guys straight away. Okay, so we're gonna go over here. I'm gonna take you guys out of this little holster, and we're gonna come over here. It's like we're on FaceTime. How cute. But I'm gonna pop you in this second tripod over here. And when I tell you, right, I am not a skirt person. I do not wear skirts, but this is an exception. Okay, Can we please start a discussion group about this skirt? Like, so easily styled. I already had all of this in my wardrobe already. Casual, breathable, easy to sew. Look at it. And then started with the cowboy boots. I feel like a modern Anne of Green Gables. And that's how I intend to sew the rest of my wardrobe. Cottagecore, but making it really like modern and casual. So just like, hello. So here we have a thick waistband, which is the elastic, right? So you can do this to any size, which is brilliant. So girl, eat all you want or exercise all you want, this skirt's gonna fit you no matter what, right? So elasticated waistband. Then we have this secondary panel down here, which is just gathering. And you want to, oh my God, I gotta tell you more about this skirt, right? So not only is it size inclusive, so you can make it to your own exact size measurements. The only measurement you need is your waist plus 3 centimeters, and then that's it. Because it's done in strips, right? So this strip here is 150 circumference, which is the width of the fabric I had, sewn into a loop. And then the other these two bigger panels down the bottom here are sewn into a loop and then gathered in and then attached. And oh my God, I love it so much. I love it so much. And I didn't mean to do this, but turns out I did. I made, kind of like flashing you, but you can see here, this is, look at this. Oh, well, it's not perfect pattern matching, but I've got a really thick hem on there. That's about 15 centimeters. Because what I did is when I cut out my fabric, I did it all to the pattern measurements. There is a sewing pattern for this skirt, trust me. It's called the summer skirt because it's like coming into summer here in Melbourne. So I was like, I want to make a summer skirt. So I made it a really thick hem for my particular one because I find that it helped it like have a bit more weight. And then also, I am so smart, I did it with a longer hem so that, like, as this skirt stays in my wardrobe for the next couple of decades, I can lengthen it, or if somebody else in my family or friends wants it, like, I can make it specific to their measurements, so we can just kind of like make it longer or shorter. Like, how good is that? Also, the advantage of having a thick hem is if you get a tear or a rip or a stain on the garment, then you have like a massive chunk of fabric in the garment itself. So you can just patch it that way. And I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool. Like that is very make do and mend wall rationing, because in boys' shorts, they would have like a really thick hem so that as the child grew, they would let down the hem like bit by bit so that they wouldn't have to go and get a whole new, a whole new pair of shorts or trousers. So I kind of did that with this skirt just by accident, but I love this skirt. I love this skirt so, so much. And like I said, I'm going to take you back over there because I've got to show you guys something else and I'm so excited for this. Okay. So I'm just going to take you, hello again. We're going, oh, you can see my apartment. How cute. So we're heading back over here. It's just started to rain here, so it's a bit muggy, but I'll bring you back over here. I don't think I've ever shown you guys my sewing studio, but this is my sewing studio. This is where I do all my stuff. But anyway, with the skirt as well, so it's also zero waste. So with this skirt, because it uses strips of fabric and then it's gathered and elasticated to create its shape, it uses exactly the amount of fabric you buy. So you're not at the end of the project with like a whole bunch of scrappy pieces of material. However, scrap fabric is not something to be scoffed at or turned up your nose at, because there is so many beautiful things that you can do with your scrap fabric, and I'm going to show you guys some of those. But just last couple notes on this skirt. I love it. I absolutely love it. And also I can see myself making so many different variations of it. Like, for example, if you want like a more girly, frilly skirt, you could add multiple layers of gathering. Like, that would be so cute. And then like you can change the width of all of the panels and everything to suit your style. And keeping in mind, I didn't do a toile of this. I kind of just like cut into it and went for it. And I'm so amazed at how well it turned out. And in the sewing pattern that I'll have a link for below, like, it is one of the most perfect beginner sewing patterns because, and I'll tell you exactly why. First of all, only straight seams. You do not have to touch a zigzag. You don't have to adjust your seam allowance. You don't have to do anything like that. It's just straight seams. And I think there's only like 5 or 6 seams you need to do. Also, body, like you don't have to take any measurements except for your waist, and that's only for the elastic. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. Also, using cotton and linens, beautiful, breathable, natural fabrics that everywhere essentially stocks, or you can get them secondhand and whatnot. So it makes such a great introduction to making your own clothes. Also, like, there's so many variations that you can do with it. With such a simple pattern, you can do so much. So I think it's fair to say I absolutely love this sewing pattern. I'm a little bit biased, but I do love it. Like I said before, I do not wear skirts. This is the one exception that I will make. And it is because it is so easy to make. You can make it in like, I reckon you can probably make this up, if you're an experienced sewer, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But if you're a beginner sewer, definitely an afternoon. Definitely an afternoon. Like, I'm so happy with the way it turned out, clearly. But as I digress, well, I wasn't digressing, I was actually staying on point, but now I will digress. Like I said, you know, scrap fabric isn't something to be scoffed at, because I actually use my scrap fabric very, very well, might I add. So with this fabric originally, this one here, I love how I can just like lift it up like this, and I'm wearing it, so so with this, also last point, beginner, introduction to gathering, and also, might I add, this this gathering here. So actually you show the gathering two different ways, because it's in the waistband and here as well. Before anyone asks, I was going to add pockets to this in the side seams, but then like the hand, it just didn't work in that first panel. Then I was thinking patch pockets, but then that's going to move the gathering. So as much as I want to add pockets to this, not practical for this particular design, but by all means give it a go. But as I was saying to beginners, gathering, this is your first introduction to gathering, and I take you through it step by step by using something called the train tracks method. And that's where you sew 2 parallel lines of gathering, 0.5 and 1.5 from the edge of the fabric, and then you gather them up and then you sew in the middle, right? To like secure all your gathering. By far, one of the most beginner-friendly ways to gather your fabric. There are different methods, but if you're new, this is it takes longer, but it's one of those methods that just try this one out when you're a beginner, and then you can move on to different types of gathering later on. But as I was saying, Stafford, let's stay on track. Stafford's my surname. Anyway, Stafford, Ford, Stafford, you get it. Anyway, so I proposed this idea to myself at the start of this year. And keeping in mind we're in September, you can see it's gotten off to a rocky start. But, so my dream sewing studio, right? I would love to have like a little shelf of all of these little whales, right? I've mentioned whales before on this YouTube, so it's not a surprise. All of these like little whales made out of the scrap fabric of a garment that I've made and then stuffed with the smaller scrap pieces of fabric. So, you see the skirt? You know her? You love her? Well, meet the little whale. I've got a little whale that matches. This is a sewing pattern by an Instagram account that I follow. I think it's Becca B Sews. This pattern has been out for ages. I absolutely love it. I think it's the sweetest thing ever. Look, he's like going along with me. So this little Wilbur here was made out of the scrap fabric from my skirt, because I think I bought like maybe 2.5 meters of this fabric when I first arrived in Melbourne 2 years ago. So this skirt only took 1.3. You could probably get away with 1.1 if you want. And then I had some leftover fabric, so I made a whale. And what he is beautiful, first of all. And then so this is the scrap fabric from the skirt excess that I made. But then he's stuffed with all the scraps that I've collected over the last year or so. So I'll show you how I made them. So I essentially sewed up the pattern, and then I got all of my scrap fabrics, and I'm going to show you them here because I've got them all. So I've got all of these scrap fabrics in here, and I just keep them in this bag in my sewing studio. You know, there's bits like this. That is actually from my whale. You can see that's where I cut out his little underbelly. And I've got so many in here, like that piece. It is fused, but it's a beautiful linen. And little pieces like this, just like some calico. So what I do, I need to get better at this because I think that will incentivize me to make more whales. So I put all of my scrap fabrics in here, and also you can always put thread tails as well in here. So when I do a whole bunch of overlocking, this is perfect because it cuts off the little edges as well. And also there's just especially when you undo all your gathering for your skirt, so much thread. Anyway, so I've got all of these fabric scraps in here, and I just spend a little bit of time with a bowl, like on my lap, and just cut them up, right? So I would just cut with these. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I learned. Okay, these scissors, LDH, obviously, my ride or die. These are great for cutting up your scrap fabric. These not so much. They are, look at the length different. So I would be, no, it's not gonna work. So I just got these ones and I just make little snippy snips. So essentially I would just like snip all my little pieces of fabric into smaller scrap pieces. And then I would make all of this. I'd just cut it all up. And these are pieces of scrap fabric I might have had in my scrap fabric bag for like a year, 2 years. And then they all go and make smaller scraps. And then, where is he? And then I left this little gap here. You'll see my little hand stitching. And then I just stuffed him. And he takes a lot more than you think. He took like a bowl and a half. Like they are hungry little whales. So cut a lot more than you think. And then I just stuffed him. And what he's gonna do, he's gonna hang out with all his other little whale friends because I want to show you all his other little whale friends. So, speaking of, oh, you noticed this? Like, oh my God, Annie, did you put that there on purpose? Yes, I did. Yes, I did, because look, this is the first ever Wilbur the waist-free whale that I ever made. So this is him. And he was made out of this. He was actually made out of the armhole. So he's my first one. So he lives up near like one of my plants and my embroidery just over there in my kitchen. I love him. It's always nice coming home to a little whale, as you should. So also, they're kind of like a bit of a time capsule of your sewing projects because yes, the fabric, yes, that's the little time capsule, but also the little scrappies inside. Like that's like a little piece of like all your sewing history. So I love that. Then, oh Annie, have you got another garment already there to show us? Oh my God, Annie, you are improving, aren't you? Well, yes I am, because here's another little whale. And look, he matches! Look, his little belly matches the coat lining and his outside matches my coat lining. That beeping is my dishwasher if you've heard it. If you've not, ignore me. But look, I've got all my little whales. Look at them all. I love them. I love them so much. Look how happy they are. So those are my little whales, my dresses, my skirts, my scrap buster stuff. Oh, I've got a pod. I've got myself a little pod of whales. Oh my God, but that is honestly the sweetest thing ever. That is the sweetest thing ever. I'm just gonna hold one of my whales as I talk to you guys now. They also kind of remind me of a mouse as well, because like, you know, like a clicky mouse for your laptop, because they're like perfectly ergonomic, which I think is just a side effect of a really good sewing pattern. So I'll show you guys the link for that in below and everything. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to show you guys. I'm so like, I love talking to you guys because it's like my little sewing space. And I really like my like the reason I create these sewing vlogs, I guess they're not sewing tutorials, let's be honest, is to have something for you guys, but also something for me, because I love how each week I go through the week and I'm like, oh, I get to talk to my sewing friends this week, and you guys are my sewing friends. And I love talking for long stints of time like this without editing. I think that's one thing that like I'm doing consciously, because like, you know, you look at all these other YouTubers and whatnot, and it's all edited and flashy. No, I just want to be your friend. I just want to be your friend. I just want to talk about sewing all the time. I have met some of the loveliest people in the sewing community through genuine interactions in real life. So I just hope that this platform will reach more of you who don't live close by, or, you know, we don't go to the same events or same workplace or anything to talk about sewing, because I just love the idea of somebody, you know, like working on their sewing project, and then there's me on their laptop or on their phone, just talking to them about these sewing things, and, you know, making them think in a different way, or, you know, use their scraps in a different way, or, you know, commemorate their sewing projects in a different way, or learn about these methods of sewing, like the train tracks method. Because if you're new to sewing, you've not learned it in school, no one around you knows how to sew, you're completely on your own, what do you do? Like, this YouTube channel is for those kinds of people that sewing is something that they want to do, or are new to, or have lots of experience in, and you can connect to it in some way by learning something new in a different light. Because before I thought of the, like, that time capsule thing with the whales, I can't remember all the things I've sewed. Like, I've got a lot of them still, but like, if you're a multi-generational sewist who sews for other people, you know, these are really lovely little gifts, you know, that like I would one day like to have like a whole little series of them. And yeah, those are just like fun ideas. And like also, when I was doing all my scrap fabric, I was thinking about the types of scissors that I use to cut up my scraps into the stuffing. And then I was thinking, oh, I would really like to make this like a regular occurrence, like once a month, sit down and cut all this out. Because I think that will make me more incentivized to sew more of the things. And also, I want to sew more of the things that I love. Because yes, sewing is a hobby and sewing is mindful, but also like, there are so many styles and things that I want to experiment with, because over the years I've definitely found my style in the style that I have, but that's only through the doing. And I feel like with Forward Wardrobe, it does take a lot of my time, and I have developed my style within that, but also I have a lot of potential in that. Like, the one thing I would really like to do is do like a fabric manipulation course on Forward Wardrobe of some kind. But yeah, that's all in there. But I'll quickly show you over here. Like, hold on, I'm just on the chair and I'm scooching over. 1 second. My embroidery is coming along. I'm nearly done. I've just got this white creamy part in the middle to do. So it's not as exciting to get home to. I shouldn't say that. But I love it. I love doing it. But I definitely like doing like the more intricate parts, not the background. So that's interesting, and that's nice to do while you're watching something. I was watching something about landfills the other day. This is where I go off on tangents, but they're all good. 3, 4, I need to go to work. So I love you and leave you. Quick reminder, I now have I have the skirt sewing pattern up on my website. So if you would like to purchase that and get involved in sewing, that would be great. But also, if you've gotten this far, we're nearly 25 minutes in and I'm gonna be late for work. But if you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe or like or share them or comment. You know, like, I love hearing from you guys, and it's something I like, you know, seeing that people are actually enjoying these videos, because we're nearly 9 months in, but I love it. I love it. And thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.